Today for this cosmic collision of flavor. And don't miss Superman, only in theaters July 11th. DQ, happy tastes good. When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
One-two pitch, swung on, hit in the air, deep center field. Going back on it, Taylor to the track, looking up, it is gone! Off the ivy in dead center as Kyle Schwarber with number 24 has put the Phillies in front 1-0. Swung on, hit in the air, pretty deep, right center field. Taylor going back, looking up, and that ball is gone! It clears over the stands into the bullpens. It's a 3-run home run for Edmundo Sosa. Swing at a pop-up, foul. Third base side, Bohm going out near the line. He's calling, he's got it. And the Phillies have got a hold on first place again by beating the Mets. 7-1 the final.
Yes, indeed. That is how you perform at home in a big-time weekend series against the New York Mets. And a good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully everybody's staying cool outside. It is about 115 degrees. Yeah, I know. Everyone's showing the dashboard pictures. I'm guilty. 101 on the ride in. 101. And no, I'm not talking about radio stations out there. Hello, Luke Arcaini joining me. Of course, covers the Phillies and all things Major League Baseball, and then some for us here on The Gambler. Great to have you, Luke. Of course, 2 of 3 against the New York Mets. Great pitching, solid hitting, just a fun weekend at the Ball Yard, a game I was at on Friday. And let me tell you a thing or two when it comes to Juan Soto. I'll save it. I saw it with my own eyes, and I will save it for later. But I'll tell you right now, I did not like what I saw, and it had nothing to do with the play on the field. I know he actually hit 2 home runs the next night. Still, we'll save that. We're going to focus on the fight-ins because they took 2 of 3 and now are back on top of the NL East. Luke Arcaini, your thoughts? Let's start with yesterday. That was a big game. You heard Schwarber after the game. Of course, he went yard. He specifically spoke about that's how we address every series, regardless of who we're going up against. It's important for us to win the series, and they did exactly that last night.
Yeah, it was a big weekend. Just, from a confidence standpoint, I think number 1, I think they needed to beat this Mets team. I think if the last 5-6 games before this series started never happened, I don't think anyone's like the sky is falling if you lose 2 of 3 to the Mets in June, right? But the Mets have had their number, and after getting pantsed in Citi Field back in April in 3 games, they could have rolled over and just been like, oh, it's just another regular season series. And whatever they told us before the game on Friday, they don't really believe that deep down. Because it was a lot of this is just another series. It's not. It's really not. A 3-game weekend series home at Citizens Bank Park against the New York Mets when you're tied at the top of the division, all 3 games on national TV. That's not a regular series. And they needed to go out and just take control. I feel like sometimes even in games that they do beat the Mets, it just feels like they always just let the Mets hang around. And I'll say this. I think if I would have told you before this series, each game was going to be a blowout, I think you would have called me crazy. But this offense showed up. They really showed up, and they proved that they're one of the best in the league when everyone's going. I mean, they're hitting 1-9 right now, which is just massive for them. I mean, Edmundo Sosa was 3 for his last 39 before Sunday night, and obviously has the massive 400 and whatever foot 3-run homer, does the Sammy Sosa shuffle down to first base. Like, there was just a little juice in there, and you could tell. I know you were there Friday night. I was there Saturday. I was there for pregame Friday, and like, even just walking in, like when we were at Xfinity Live Friday, it just felt different. It didn't feel like, just any other series in June, because whether you think it is or not, it's not. It's a huge series, and just to show the Mets that, hey, they don't run this thing. Like, they don't run the National League. They don't run the National League East. It's a two-way race at the top, and that's what it's going to be. I know Alec Boehm said last night in his little mic'd up segment, he basically said, yeah, like, we understand this is, just a series in June, but it's also just a series in June against the Mets when you're tied at the top of the division at your home place after they just knocked you out of the playoffs last year.
Got Luke Arcaini to kick off the show here, and why not 2 of 3 for the Phillies against the Mets? And yeah, you said it too. All 3 games nationally televised. I forgot about that. Friday, obviously, Apple. Saturday on Fox. Last night on ESPN. Love to get everybody's opinion on that. If you were able to catch all 3 broadcasts, which one stood out to you the most? I'm a fan of Apple. I was at the game on Friday. I like what Apple brings to the table. Of course, what Fox does and ESPN does. Apple has their own flavor, and I'm a fan. Don't get me wrong. I get it. The commentators, blah, 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 blah. I'm not the biggest fan either, but at the end of the day, you could also hit a button and get local commentators.
Exactly. Yeah, that's definitely the best thing to do on the Apple. I will say my favorite part about the Apple broadcast is their cameras are unbelievable.
Correct.
Like, miles ahead of any other broadcast. It is the clearest picture you could possibly have. I mean, I just usually slot it over to Fransky in LA. And then if they're doing any sort of interviews on the field, then I just switch back really quick. But like, it's really good stuff that they have going on.
Can't beat it. All right. Everybody's thoughts again, busy weekend and all things sports. We got a lot to get to, especially here in Philadelphia. I got text messages from Arcaini about hockey in June, Flyers hockey in June. Apparently they made some moves today. So we'll discuss that. Luke's going to hang with us for the first hour here. All right. So again, Phillies take 2 of 3. It's a June series against the Mets. The Mets they had the swagger last year, but they're definitely leaking oil at this point in time, but nobody cares. They came out and slugged on Saturday night and looked like the team that could eventually be the NL East champs if the Phillies don't win this division this year. But with that being said, I want to talk a little bit about Topper and what he was able to do. You're out there yesterday and you have, Otto Kemp playing left field, Buddy Kennedy, who I didn't even know who the hell Buddy Kennedy was. All right. Thompson's doing well right now. And I just want to say, like, it's not even a question. It's more of a statement, but I want to get your thoughts on it because everybody is so quick to, call out his criticisms. And it's not to say I agree with everything he does. I think there are times he needs to get out there like that Coastal Carolina coach and let the umpire hear it. We'll talk about that one as well. But he's got his own way and he's earned the opportunity. He's played or he's coached really well. He's got the team believing. He handles the situations that might not be going the smoothest like he did with Castellanos. Well, in my opinion, Casty had a great weekend at the dish for the Phillies this weekend. Just your thoughts on Rob Thompson and maybe he's not getting enough credit, right? I know you play 162. We could have these conversations a ton all throughout the course of the season, but I thought that was a pretty damn masterful performance yesterday and, of course, all weekend long.
Well, yeah, I mean, first things first, Rob Thompson never gets enough credit because it's always fire the manager if their 8-year veteran infielder can't field a ground ball, or they're like it's always fire Rob for a lot of people. But no, I think Rob's done an incredible job this year. I think for a bullpen that's really not that good, I think it could be going a lot worse with some of the arms that are in that bullpen over the last few months. I think he's handled that well. I think he's handled the platoon situation well. And my favorite thing is everybody always complains about this, in quotes scheduled loss lineup when realistically it's just the right thing to do. And it's like people will this is the funniest part too, is like the same people that will sit there and tell you that Bryson Stott isn't a good baseball player will be mad when he's not in the lineup against lefties. When David Peterson is one of the best pitchers in baseball to left-handed hitters. It was just the most obvious move ever to stack righties last night. I had a few Mets fans actually in my replies, and I saw one that quoted it saying, "This is why I'm nervous about tonight. The Phillies are doing the right thing and stacking righties against Peterson." And it worked. I think Rob Thompson's just done a really, really good job this year. Granted, it's easier to manage a good baseball team than it is a bad baseball team.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to have to get to a point where no matter how many times I or other people tweet it, people are going to have to eventually start respecting that he has the best winning percentage for a manager in the history of the Phillies.
It's got a very Nick Sirianni type vibe to it.
Yeah, he does.
Minus the, well, at that point in time, Nick didn't have a championship. He didn't have a Super Bowl championship. He had an appearance, but so does Rob Thompson.
Yep.
Very intriguing when you start to compare it. Again, like, okay, the lineup was the lineup like you just discussed, winning 2 of 3 in a June series. Yeah, but just for the people out there that are, I don't even know if naysayers is the right term, but let's just use it for right now. The people that are negative about Rob Thompson, the people that are quick to say, "Oh, you know what, he's got to go." And I got friends. I have friends that text me this stuff, and I'm just like, really? You think firing the manager right now over what? They went through that tough stretch. That's what I'm obviously going back to. But remember, this is without Aaron Nola right now. This is without Bryce Harper right now. This is without Jose Alvarado, who we are quick to forget about. And like I said, he's putting in these players that are making plays, calling up the young guys. I know that there's more of a cumulative effort when it comes to calling up players. But at the end of the day, he's putting the right names in the right spots, and they're performing. And Casty had a great weekend too as well, which I bet on Friday, Luke. And what a day that was at the ball yard as Casty goes yard in the bottom of the 8th to hit my only SGP same game parlay on DraftKings Sportsbook 14-1. Trey Turner's been swinging a hot stick. We roll with him, 2 hits. He hit that, and Casty comes up, and I'm just like, yeah, it's.
Well, I also think part of the reason I like to fire back at the Rob Thompson thing a little bit is there was this stat on the broadcast last night, and I did tweet out the screenshot of it, and it is pretty interesting. The first 26 games of the Phillies season, the Phillies were 13-13. Since April 25th, they're 31-17 with the best record in baseball. And that also is including a 1-9 stretch.
Damn.
So if you take that 1-9 stretch out, they are 30-8 since April 25th. Without that 1-9 stretch, they're playing great.
Bring on the Dodgers.
Oh, come on. The one big thing on Thompson, because there's a lot of guys we can talk about from the series, and I don't want to really just hone in on him. Whenever somebody tells me to fire Rob Thompson, my first thing is, okay, give me the next manager. And nobody ever has an answer because people don't know baseball managers. Nobody knew who Rob Thompson was before he got promoted. And then they were 2 wins away from winning the World Series 3 years ago. It's Rob Thompson's fine. Rob Thompson is a good manager. This is a good baseball team, and they played some really good baseball over the last 3 days.
All right, night off for the Titans. They head to Houston. Pretty good matchup tomorrow with Valdez on the mound and Ranger. I wonder if they faced off against each other. No, am I drawing a blank? No, maybe not. Who knows? But I know Valdez did, obviously, in that World Series. But as far as tomorrow will be concerned, we'll get into all of that. Again, what a weekend it was for the Phillies. And it just had some really good vibes and just energy and juice in that building. Mets fans traveled well on Friday. I was not able to really watch too much of the game on Saturday. Didn't miss much. So I don't know if that was the day that they all made the trip down. I will tell you this much. Back in my day, it felt like you had to, as far as Mets fans are concerned, it was almost like, you keep a low profile, right? And you're seen, but you're really not seen. Let's just put it that way. Now, these days, They're walking around. They got the chains.
Yeah,
I'm just like, they're really comfortable right now. That's
because it's because they made it to an NLCS. They're the most it's the most confident fan base in baseball when 5 through 9 in their lineup can't hit, and they have the most overrated pitching staff in the entire league.
All right, you want my Juan Soto take real quick?
Yeah, I think we're on the same page here.
All right, so I saw this with my own eyes on Friday, and I again, you could say, dude, you're a boomer. Yeah, I'm on the cusp. I don't know if I'm a boomer. I'm on the cusp of yeah, there you go. I'm an old guy. So we have unbelievable seats. We go with the father-in-law, 2 brother-in-laws, unbelievable seats, literally on the right field line. And I'm leaning on the pad. I could not get any closer. There's the wall. Casty. It was unbelievable. So Juan Soto, I'm just watching the whole game, and it didn't really irk me. He would run to, so like when they're coming back on the field, he would run to the grass or past the dirt, past second base, and then walk. And that doesn't bother me, right? It doesn't bother me at all. Little bit. Then he's on first base as a hitter. He gets on first base, and the next batter walks. I was floored when he did this. The next batter walks. Juan Soto then walks from first to second. I'm just like, dude, are you kidding me right now? So I'm all Juan Soto. I'm vision on him. Like, this is just signed the most amazing contract in the history of sports. I just want to see it with my own eyes, right? We know how good he is. He could potentially go down as one of the greatest players ever after it's all said and done. But damn, dude, the effort is not there. The lack of fire is not. It's so obvious when you just watch this dude that like nothing matters to this guy. And then he did it again, but this time after the 3 outs on the field, he literally walked in. I'm telling you right now, dude, it was just a strut. And I'm just like, man, this is a guy that you bring in. Of course, at the end of the day, you want those numbers. And if he performs and he hits 2 bombs like he did on Saturday night and ends up with 45 home runs and a decent average, then you're not going to say anything, right? But isn't there something else that should come with the most expensive contract ever signed in franchise history, in baseball history? Shouldn't you have some sort of like, you know what? I have leadership quality. There is zero leadership quality in Juan Soto, in my opinion. Again, only watch him one day, couple innings in right field at Citizens Bank Park against the Phillies. But I'm telling you right now, I was locked in on him. My father-in-law was giving it to him. He's got to work on his heckling just a little bit. But man, that was so disappointing to see.
Yeah, he would kill to be a DH right now, and that's the funniest part. He would love it. I'll tell you this: if Juan Soto ended up signing with the Phillies, can you imagine how many fans would already hate him? They'd hate him.
Credit, and I hope this doesn't come off wrong, but there are players that the Phillies, I don't think, would sign. And I think we can go back in history, whether we know what's real and what's not, but I think there was an opportunity to get Machado or Bryce Harper, and we know which way they went. Like, there are players, like the expectation should be there more than just performing at the dish. And Bryce Harper delivers on that. Bryce Harper is a leader through and through. Not to say Manny isn't, because Manny is a leader out there in San Diego. I'll give him the credit. And, of course, what he was able to do in Baltimore. Juan Soto, I don't see that at all. No. And the fact that he went to the Nationals, to San Diego, to the Yankees, and we're talking about potentially one of the greatest baseball players ever, right? After it's all said and done, it's crazy that this dude's already on his 4th team. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think it speaks volumes that he's already on his 4th team. And granted, if he ends up being a free agent, but I'll tell you this: the San Diego, the Washington Nationals absolutely won that Juan Soto trade. I'll tell you that. They got a lot of damn good players out of that trade that play every single day for them, and one of the best left-handed pitchers in baseball out of that trade, Mackenzie Gore. It's I don't know, because the dude's a really damn good baseball player.
Absolutely, no doubt.
He's a really, really, really talented hitter. But I don't know. I don't know how I would feel if Bryce Harper went out there and he struck out in the 7th inning of a Sunday night baseball game against his division rival, and he was laughing with their catcher about it after. and taking a strut out. I don't know, man. It's just it does rub me the wrong way a little bit. But I mean, would I take his bat in the postseason? Yeah. Absolutely. But
I'm very cautious of the conversation because it could blow up in the face if they have the advantage in the postseason and they move on in advance because of Juan Soto's bat. Like, we know what he's capable of. But man, you play 162. It is a long season, and you need leaders to keep that thing going. I don't see it at all in him.
Yeah, and
so I'm not going to sit here and say I'm happy he's a Met. I'm not going to say that. But
definitely,
I didn't like what I saw. That's all.
I didn't either. Yeah, no.
All right, let's keep it moving. Again, we got a lot to get to. Around the world of baseball, we do have the Mets and Braves going back at it again tonight, so that's something to watch there for us here. I do want to bring this up because we are seeing some history, and I want to show some love, Luke Arcaini, to the catcher. I once came up as a catcher. I love catchers. It's the toughest position in baseball. The fact that they just get beat up. You just look at JT. JT took one to the groin. Well, not the groin. Took one to the balls. And that dude, he would that would have knocked me on the DL for at least 3 weeks. Not him. He's back in the mix. One of the toughest SOBs in Philadelphia sports. Now, Cal Raleigh is making a name for himself. Again, how about this? He goes yard again last night. 31 bombs for the catcher out in Seattle, Luke Arcaini.
Pitch on the way to Cal. Swinging a drive deep into right center field. And Crow Armstrong going back, looking up, and goodbye baseball. He keeps doing it. Cal Raleigh with another home run, number 31 on the season. Every day a home run, and more records are falling like flies.
He's on pace for 66, Luke.
Yeah, he's the fastest catcher to ever get to, I believe, 29 home runs before the All-Star break in baseball history.
It's insane.
Dude's on a freaking tear. And it really is crazy that a guy playing as good as Cal Raleigh isn't going to win the MVP.
Well, yeah.
I know we got time. But a catcher with 31 home runs and 67 RBIs a month before the All-Star break. Brace, he has a 1.0, I think 1.016 OPS, something like that. He's 140 points behind Aaron Judge.
It's ridiculous.
140 points. Yeah. It's insane. Dude, it's the Big Dumpy. Have you seen that nickname for Cal? It's great.
Yeah. Colby Marshall had that on the show a long time ago, and I was like, what did you call him? He's like, yeah, it's his nickname. I know you didn't give it to him, but yes, that's
Big Dumper.
dying. Yeah, he right now, Luke, and again, we're going to have a smooth transition here. You'll see where I'm going, but he is the 9th player in MLB history, hit 30-plus home runs through his team's first 75 games. The other 8, we're talking about the best of the best, besides Luis Gonzalez, who's pretty damn good in his own right, but Barry, Mark McGwire, Sosa, Griffey Jr., Reggie Jackson, Maris, Ruth. That's the type of names. That's the company he's in right now. And he's doing it out there in Seattle, and it's not getting a lot of conversation, and we understand why that is. Now, I transition, if you won't mind, over to the NBA Finals, Luke Arcaini.
There it is.
Did you watch any of the NBA Finals? Did you watch Game 7? Oh, look at you.
Watched all of it.
Me too.
Well, I'll say this. The Phillies were my first priority, but the second they went to commercial, I went. And then I watched the entire probably back end of the second quarter all the way to the end.
So not a lot of people tuned in. And I don't think a lot of people were nobody on this show, nobody on this station was telling you different, right? I don't think anybody in the national media was telling you different, that all of a sudden we know that these two teams are going to turn in just an incredible ratings number as far as the NBA Finals are concerned in comp years. No, that's not the case. And we have right now, it just came out, Pacers and Thunder NBA Finals. First 5 games averaged 9.18 million viewers, the worst 5-game average in finals history since 1988. And even last night didn't even fetch a good number. And it's funny because, to me, I just look at it like this. You had two dominant teams, a team that deserved to be there, a team that had one of the best seasons in NBA history, 68+ wins, defense, all that. And I opened up this series talking about whether or not we should care about the casual. Well, that's easy for me to say. I'm not the commissioner. I'm not the one that has all these, situations to handle, whether it's contracts, ratings. Like, he's got to care about it all. And it's just funny where you have two teams that put on a 7-game series. And it was a classic. You had, of course, you had the one blowout in game 2. Other than that, every game was pretty much tight, right? It goes to 7. Nobody had that going 7. So here we are last night with an opportunity that possibly, if the upset did happen, we're talking about one of the biggest upsets in sports history and NBA history, absolutely. And nobody really tuned in. And I just want to open it up because it's a bigger conversation, right? And I'll give you the other example that was going through my mind. I feel like the Kevin Durant trade got more fanfare, more clicks, talked about more on my timeline than the actual NBA Finals Game 7 between Oklahoma City and Indiana. I don't know if that's fair or foul on that, or if you agree, but what the hell is going on if people can't get behind a 7-game series that was pretty damn good basketball after it was all said and done?
I think it's a little bit of a hit on just, the two teams. And it's not saying they're bad at it's not saying they're bad at basketball, because it's two really good basketball teams. But it gives off the same vibe to me as the Diamondbacks Rangers World Series from 2 years ago. The viewership was down. It was two good baseball teams, and they played a really good series. Nobody cares about the Arizona Diamondbacks, and nobody cares about the Texas Rangers. Nobody cares about the Oklahoma City Thunder, and nobody cares about the Indiana Pacers. Like, right? Like, if you went up to a casual NBA fan, right, and you told them to name me 2 players on the Celtics or name me 2 players in Lakers, like, yeah, they got that. If you ask a casual NBA fan to name you 3 people on the Pacers, they have no idea. And it's not a flack on the team itself. It's just it wasn't ideal matchup for any sort of viewership. I think it falls back on the NBA playoffs are too long. They're simply just too long. It's 2.5 months worth of playoffs.
It really is
too long. I don't.
It's a whole different season.
It's legitimately 3/4 of a football season. That's how long the NBA Finals is. I don't need if the Pacers took every series the distance, I don't need to watch the Indiana Pacers play 28 basketball games. Like, that's over a quarter of an NBA season. They have to shorten the playoffs. They have to shorten the regular season. That's where it's at. They're never going to do it. They need to go down to a 52-game regular season.
Oh, you're out of your mind. No way.
They're never going to do it, but they should.
You could talk to me in the 70s, but I probably would be way kicking. Yeah, you get those owners to sign on that dotted line.
Well, that's the thing. They're never going to. But no, that is the thing. Do all right. So if you're a casual basketball fan,
sure,
do you care more that Kevin Durant, the guy that they grew up watching, is now going to a new team that was a really high seed in the playoffs last year, and now Kevin Durant, this all-time legend of the league, goes down to Houston, is going to try and win a championship down there? Do they care about that, or do they care more about watching Isaiah Hartenstein versus Pascal Siakam in the NBA Finals? It's obvious. It's insanely obvious. It sucks because, if this was a Lakers Celtics NBA Finals, the viewers would be to the roof.
Well,
but both of the teams that played in the NBA Finals are better than both of the teams I just named. But it doesn't matter because it's all about the name that's on the screen.
Yeah, and Roy's checking. He says 100% agree on the KD trade. It did seem like it got more buzz than anything.
Yeah, it absolutely
we're talking about in a pregame show. We were listening to the radio on the way home from the Pocono 400, Sean Bernard and myself, and next thing you know, that's all they were talking about. And I get it. It was the moment. You had time to build up to the game. But all in all, it was game 7. Like, it doesn't get any bigger than that.
No. It's the first game 7 since one of the greatest basketball games ever. Like it's the first NBA Finals Game 7 since blocked by James, Cavs Warriors.
Which, by the way, had a 31.02 million viewers on ABC in that game. Again, listen to that number. That did all Game 7. So they don't have the number for last night. And no, I'm not here to talk as I'm talking about ratings. Like, I get it. People get turned off by this conversation. To me, it intrigues me. It interests me. And like I said, I opened up this series saying, who cares about the casuals? And then what happened in Game 1? Oklahoma City coughs it up and Indiana steals Game 1. It was an unbelievable game.
Oh, that game was incredible.
Yeah, it was awesome. So it was like, all right, you casuals, you watching now? Apparently they didn't.
No.
And to me, it whether it's superstars or not, because SGA is a bona fide superstar. He had like one of the best seasons in NBA history. He capped it off last night with an NBA Finals MVP. Like, this dude led the league in scoring, led his team, the Oklahoma City Thunder, to a championship, the first in franchise history. He had an unbelievable year. He is a superstar. And oh, by the way, this team, you could sit here and tell me that this team isn't good compared to those other teams. I heard Cowherd before us say, yeah, you know why? Oh, the Golden State Warriors are considered a great team because they won multiple. Guess what, Cowherd? This Oklahoma City team probably is going to compete again next year for another championship. And then after that, they're not done. So I would tell you right here, right now on June 23rd, that the Oklahoma City Thunder, led by SGA, will get another championship. So then are you going to change your tune and say that this was a superstar team, a badass team? I don't think he will, but because he's wrong. At the end, it comes down to, in these people's minds, on like where they're located geographically. Like, that's what the issue is. And it's weird to me that people can't get fired up for a team in Oklahoma City because it's a small market, or the Pacers because it's a small market. When they played some great damn basketball, they were the two best teams. Like, if you want to tell me that the Oklahoma City Thunder are a bad champion, then you got to tell me it's a bad league, which it's not. It's not a bad league. It's got great players all across. Look, I guarantee, pull up 90s, pull up any year you want in NBA history. There are a ton of dud teams out there. We think about, like, I'm a 90s kid. I'm born in 81. We think about the years with Jordan as like the greatest the league ever was. You mean to tell me it wasn't top heavy in those years either? Come on, man. Take a look around. So that's my point. My point is, like, are people that caught up because the team's from Oklahoma City that you can't enjoy great basketball in an NBA Finals that goes 7 games? It's just strange to me. Strange behavior.
I think it says a lot too that, like, you look at the viewership across like Major League Baseball, and it's only going up. Baseball viewership is going up and up and up, and NBA viewership is going down and down and down. And that's not saying the NBA needs to completely change their product, but it does say a lot that when baseball added the pitch clock, the viewership went up. And that I'm not sitting here and telling the NBA to shorten the shot clock, right? But like,
you did just stop their season and a half, though.
They did. they need to find a way to just change something. Like, it's something has to change, because and it's not even a Sixers thing. And I'm in the minority, I think, of at least the guys from the station. Mm-hmm. This season was easily the least amount of basketball I've ever watched. And I don't really have a pinpoint answer on why it was. It's just, I don't know. Maybe there is, but maybe there's not a ton of, legend status anymore. And there is, but you're not going out there and watching LeBron James in his prime and Steph Curry in his prime and Durant in his prime and Harden in his prime. Listen, that was must-watch basketball. Turning on James Harden early in his Rockets career was must-watch basketball every single night. Is there a guy like, and I know we'll say, oh, Jokic because he's a great player and Giannis because he's a great player. Are there casual fans purposely turning on a Denver Nuggets game because they have to watch Nikola Jokic? No.
Probably not.
No, there's not.
And he's considered one of the greatest players
ever. Yeah. And there's no drive for that. If you went back and watched Kevin Durant If there was a Tuesday night matchup of the Warriors and Cavs back in 2015, I guarantee you that viewership is higher than any single NBA Finals game from this year.
We need super teams. We need more of them, I guess. That's what it comes down to. Hey, look, we're going to have 2 new teams. I think that's going to be happening pretty soon in the NBA. I know that was discussed, Adam Silver. Vegas will probably be one of them, and I hope Seattle will be the other, right? Bring back the Supersonics. We'll see what happens on that one. I don't know if that fixes it. Again, it's weird.
Shorten the season, shorten the playoffs. That has to be their first move. And it's never going to happen because owners aren't going to sign off on it. But nobody needs to watch the Indiana Pacers play 28 basketball games in the playoffs. You just don't. You just don't need it. If they went 7 in every series they played, you would watch 28 Indiana Pacers games. You don't need to. Sean, you don't care about watching the Pacers 28 times in the span of 2.5 months. I know you don't.
No, I'm not going to lie.
It's too long. No. It's too long.
Yeah.
How electric is the MLB playoffs?
Yeah, but LeBron James for 28 games, if 7 games for the Lakers.
Baseball's over in a month. Yeah. You start the back half of the first week of October, and usually Game 7 of the World Series, if there is one, is around November 5th or 6th. It's a month.
That's the way it should be. You're right. All right, Luke Arcaini's hanging with me here first hour. Sam Oshtry will join me at 4:10. Plenty to discuss there as far as the NBA Finals and the NBA Draft coming up this week. Yeah. How about that on Wednesday? 2 days. The NBA loves the draft. Nobody does it like the NBA.
Oh, nobody does it. And Sean Brace, this is their problem because guess what? It's not all on one night anymore.
No, it's 2 nights.
Round 1's one night, round 2's the next night. It's bizarre, man. It's
like Sean Bernard and Sam Oshtry will be watching night 2. That's about it. Other than that, we got plenty to discuss. Other side, we'll continue talking about the NBA Finals. Love to get you involved out there. If you did not watch Game 7, I'm really curious to know what those numbers are. We'll talk a little bit about that, but the first 5 games did not register at all. Again, a dominant performance by Oklahoma City, specifically in the second half. The Halliburton injury was terrible. I'm not so sure that they're not going to win that game, even if Halliburton is healthy. But at the same time, you do believe that the Pacers would have competed a little bit more than they did in the second half. They were just out of gas, and TJ McConnell was kind of getting heckled a little bit there too, turning the ball over a few times. He played great, though, in the NBA Finals. Not his fault. Just a really good swarming defense by the Oklahoma City Thunder. All right, other side, we'll continue talking about the Kevin Durant move. 15 years as far as an all-star is concerned. 15-time all-star. Incredible career by KD. Now heading to Houston. Huge shift in the odds. I'll give you exactly what that movement was. And also from the weekend. You know, we talk about sports and we mix it all in here. We're going to talk a little NASCAR as I was up there yesterday for Pocono 400. But the PGA Tour, something took place on Saturday, and it had such an impact on Sunday. And it's the way that the players police themselves. You're not going to believe it. You might have missed it. But a great tournament, and Tommy Fleetwood comes up short yet again, has never won on the PGA Tour. That was eye-opening. I didn't know that. Yeah. But there is a story from another golfer, not Keegan Bradley, who ended up winning it, or Tommy Fleetwood, that I'll give you his sound over the weekend. A lot to discuss. As I said, Luke Arcaini's hanging with me, Sam Oshtry in the next hour. More Daily Ticket back after this.
Spring is in the air, and it's time to swing for the fences. Our MLB coverage is bringing heat all season long.
Everybody moves up 90 feet.
Be sure to catch Luke Arcaini and Sean Brace on the Daily Ticket. Only one place that covers all the action. It's The Gambler.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. Starring John Fogerty, Bryan Adams, Sammy Hagar, Mariah Carey, Tim McGraw, Jelly Roll, Ed Sheeran, and more. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage. Superstar performances, never before seen collaborations, and once-in-a-lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Get your iHeartRadio Music Festival tickets now at AXS.com.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
You end up on 95 northbound, Girard up the bridge, southbound, stop and go, Coppin in the Betsy Ross. And so Ridley Park to 320, westbound Schuylkill Heavy University to Vine, and Boulevard to Belmont, eastbound jam Montgomery Drive to south. All right, to tell it, total traffic
This report is sponsored by Dairy Queen. It's cake batter. It's cookie dough. It's the new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard treat. Now at participating DQ locations for a limited time. Fly in today for this cosmic collision of flavor. And don't miss Superman, only in theaters July 11th. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Today doesn't have to suck. Break through your day-to-day boredom by downloading Call of Duty Mobile for free and enjoy fun gameplay featuring fan-favorite Call of Duty maps, modes, and operators. Plus, tons of new mobile content anywhere, anytime. Available on both the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Download for free now. Rated M.
The riveting podcast, What Happened to Talina Czar, unravels the chilling mystery surrounding a woman's disappearance during the COVID-19 lockdown, the internet sleuths who wouldn't let it go, and the dark subcultures and betrayals they unearthed.
There were a lot of secrets that were very hard to find.
Listen to What Happened to Talina Czar on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow What Happened to Talina Czar and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
Stay tuned to Fox PHL The Gambler for the latest CEOs you should know.
Michael Delbane, the president and CEO of Welcome America.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Do you own or manage a business here in Philadelphia? Are you unsure where to start when it comes to advertising? Well, here's a surprise. Fox Sports The Gambler, your local iHeart station, is the one place you can get it all. Hey, it's Sean Brace, and we can help with everything from radio and podcast ads to social media and digital. And we can even get local voices like mine spreading the word about your business. So if you're looking for someone to take care of it all, do yourself a favor right now. Call 844-844-iHeart or visit iHeartAdvertising.com today.
You see what I see, love?
Our grandson splashing his mom with a cannonball?
You. Having heart failure is hard enough, but now you're having trouble opening the sunscreen. Carpal tunnel acting up again?
Yep, and there are my stomach issues. And how tired I am. I could use a nap.
Let's take a dip, and then we're calling your cardiologist to see what's going on, okay?
If you have heart failure and something's off, it may be ATTR-CM or transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis. It's a serious heart condition that gets worse over time. Vindamax, tafamidis, is a prescription pill taken once a day to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization for heart problems. Tell your doctor about all your medications, medical conditions, and if you have liver problems or breastfeeding, pregnant, or plan to be. There are no known side effects with Vindamax. For prescribing information, call 1-877-278-9632. Learn more at Vindamax.com.
Seeing what I see? Ask your doctor about ATTR-CM.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Macy's lowest prices of the summer on furniture and mattresses are here, which means you'll find great July 4th deals now on beautiful home updates, like the 7-piece Whitburn outdoor dining set, $19.99. Customer favorites like the Radley sectional, now $21.79. And 20 to 65% off top mattress brands like Sealy. And with Macy's white glove delivery, we'll set it all up and whisk away all that packaging too. But hurry in. These summer deals are going on now at Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
You want to see basketball played the way it's supposed to be? Tune in to Ice Cube's Big Three this summer. Watch stars like Dwight Howard, Kemba Walker, Joe Johnson, Michael Beasley, and many more, along with Hall of Fame coaches. Experience the fast pace and physical play and fun action that defines the game. You know what it is. It's the Big Three. Catch the best professional 3-on-3 players in the world live every weekend on CBS and Vice. Oh, yay, yay!
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
May I have your attention, please?
You're listening to The Daily Ticket with Sean Brace, Philly's first daily sports gambling show.
Let us see the dough!
On Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. The action starts here.
Sorry, I'm tweeting. I'm posting stuff about the show here, doing everything. That's what we do here in the Daily Ticket. Good afternoon. Hopefully everybody's staying cool out there. Luke Arcaini, of course, read him at crossingbroad.com, covers the Phillies. They got the night off, a much-deserved night off as the boys took 2 or 3 against the Mets. They will be in Houston tomorrow, H-Town. Framber Valdez versus Ranger Suarez. Good pitching matchup there. So look forward to watching that series get started tomorrow. Some other odds and ends, Luke, from the weekend. First and foremost, LSU. You know, back in the day, Luke, this is 95.
Back in my day.
This is 94, 95. LSU and Miami, the Hurricanes, had some great battles. Go and watch those games on some college baseball throwback channels. Pat Murrell, some great names on both squads. Had some legendary battles. But that was like one of the games. Like, I remember watching a College World Series game on CBS that they won on a walk-off. And I had a white, all white, old school, you know the style, the dirty white hat. And I had an LSU hat, and I love baseball. It's what I wanted to do. And I wanted to go to LSU to play baseball. Now, they have won 2 out of their last 3 national championships, just beat Coastal Carolina. And look, you know, we don't really talk too much about it. We went over the odds. I'm more of the regionals and super regional type of guy when it comes to College World Series. I can't get enough of that stuff. But when it gets into Omaha, it's a great watch. But all in all, it's a tough place to win. And you know, you're not going to see too many upsets like that. But LSU went in. It's a different squad versus Coastal Carolina. They deserve a ton of credit. Both teams do. But the big story out of the weekend was that Coastal Carolina manager got thrown out in the bottom of the first inning due to arguing balls and strikes, and the umpire gave him a quick hook in a national championship best of 3 game 2. And for my money, inexcusable. I would prefer the manager not do something like that to get thrown out. But it was a quick hook, A, and B, you know, when it comes to understanding what's taking place, the umpire needs to have a cooler head, and a little tolerance would have went a long way. And he tossed him. So I guess the question I would ask you, Luke, is it ever okay in your mind to throw out a manager or coach in a championship game?
No.
Not at all.
No. Especially in the first inning. It just can't happen. Coastal Carolina won 26 games in a row before they lost game 1 to LSU. Backs against the wall. That's probably their last game of the season. And their coach the umpire tosses the coach in the first inning. It's bizarre. It just can't happen. Like, it gets to a point where he's got to say some crazy, crazy stuff to even be considered to get thrown out there. And I would put my money on that he didn't say something worthy of getting tossed. Seems like that umpire had a extremely way too quick hook. And it's a shame, because if you're that coach from Coastal, like, he's not going in. He's not trying to get thrown out of the game there. Listen, there's situations where coaches know that sometimes you just got to get tossed, right? Your team's going through a skid and you need some life. Go out there, yell at an umpire, get tossed, right? Maybe take a bat and slam a Gatorade cooler, right? Do something. You don't throw a coach out in the first inning of game 2 of the College World Series. It just cannot happen.
LSU prevailed, national championship, no surprise there. Livy Dunn, man. Livy Dunn all over the TV screen. Are we dunned out? Could we?
Who lives a better life, Livy Dunn or Paul Skeens?
I like Paul Skeens. He's quiet. He's just a badass on the mound. But Livy Dunn, she's all over it. I don't know.
Would you rather be arguably the best pitcher in baseball who's dating Livy Dunn and
seemed like a great couple,
a beast, or would you rather be Livy Dunn, who everyone loves and now gets to date the guy who's probably going to get the richest contract in the history of
I was going to say, give me Skeens.
Let me tell you, it's a fair argument. But like, who lives a better life, Paul Skeens or Livy Dunn?
Oh, that's a good question. You're right.
When Livy Dunn bought, so she was at that Fanatics Fest thing over the weekend, and correct. She bought it's like a Paul Skeens like anime card or something for $2,850, and everyone in the replies was like, "Dude, she's gonna buy that card for $2,850. She's gonna go home, have him sign it, and it's going to be worth $25,000. Like, it's crazy.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. The world we live in. Yeah. One more from the Coastal Carolina coach as he got tossed and then he, didn't even get an opportunity to get his money's worth, to be honest with you. Got out there. The first base umpire runs down the line. And then coach said, following the game, quote, "You guys watched the video. There was a guy that came in extremely aggressively and tripped over Campo's foot, embarrassed in front of 25,000 people. And he immediately goes 2-game suspension and says bumping the umpire. The umpire immediately does that. There was no bump. He wasn't embarrassed." And then he said this bar, "I shouldn't be held accountable for a grown man's athleticism."
He's right. He's absolutely right. That was the weirdest part. The weirdest part wasn't even him getting tossed in the first inning. It was the umpire saying he has a 2-game suspension when there's only 2 games left.
Yeah, it was stupid.
So,
it was stupid.
And I did see somebody say,
Lord,
like, if Coastal were to win that game and the NCAA didn't overturn that suspension,
oh, it'd be ridiculous.
It would have been absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I mean, we didn't get to that situation. But yeah, hell of a season from LSU. They're just always a good baseball team.
From the weekend, the PGA Tour rolls on. Had some big names.
Awesome.
The Travelers. Yeah, it was. Came down to the wire. It was fun seeing Tommy Fleetwood. Of course, Bradley, whether he's going to be the captain for the Ryder Cup. Of course, we know what he's capable of. Great swing. We watched him front and center at the Truist a couple weeks ago. And he's won there before as well at the Travelers. It was second time. But Tommy Fleetwood, eye-opening. I should have known this. I don't know why I didn't, but he's been runner-up 6 times. That was the 6th time. Has never won on the PGA Tour, so your heart breaks for him. But I do want to bring this up because this is something that kind of is underneath the radar for some people out there. Maybe they were paying attention, maybe they weren't. But you have a golfer by the name of Russell Henley who also finished tied with Tommy Fleetwood in second, I believe 14 under, if I'm not mistaken. Now, the reason why I'm bringing up Russell Henley is because on Saturday, my man turned himself in for a penalty stroke because in his backswing, the ball moved. And oh, by the way, that stroke came back to cost him because, of course, if he does not do that, he has that, an extra stroke under par. And, of course, as I said, he would have finished 15 under, tied with Bradley, and they would have played in a playoff. But unbelievable when you really think about it. And there's more to it than just like, he turned himself in. The act, no one saw it, yet he did turn himself in. It seems like it's rare, but it's like the golf culture of honor. Anyways, this is Russell Henley talking about that after turning himself in.
I wanted to ask you about 8 yesterday. What went on there and why did you?
Yeah,
why
was I what?
I was going to say adamant about taking a penalty.
Yeah.
It looked like it could have gone either way.
Well, when I took the club back, I saw the ball move a dimple to the right. I saw it fall to the right. And so I know that for a fact. And right when it happened, it kind of shocked me a little bit. I still hit the shot. And as the ball was rolling on the green, I was thinking something just happened there. So I knew that the ball moved. And I just felt like it was the right thing to do. The rule says you have to be, I don't know if it's 19 out of 20 times or 95%. Yeah. But just definitely sure the ball moved. And I am. And so I just felt like it was the right thing to do.
I wanted to ask you about 8 yesterday.
Luke, when it comes down to it, right? Like, you could have let that slide. Nobody saw it. Is there a chance somebody would have and turned them in? We know how that works. I don't know if they still do that or whatnot, but I know that was a big thing that people be calling from the couch. Where do you stand on this one, though, man? Is he overdoing it? Great sportsmanship, teaching a lesson to the youngins out there. Would you have turned yourself in, Luke?
Probably not. But no, I mean, so it's funny because that actually happens a little more frequently in professional golf than you think it does.
I believe it.
And it happened to Scotty last year. I believe it was at Waste Management. And what he basically said was, golf is a huge mental game, as we all know, trust me. But a lot of these guys truly believe in the fact that, if you give something to the course gives something back to you. And, that sticks. It's a lot of the times, other than maybe Patrick Reed, you tend to see these guys always. Sorry.
No, it's good. I love crap on him all you want. He's the only guy I don't like to live. He's the only
worst.
Yeah, he is.
A lot of these guys do that. And, it sucks because if Russell Henley shot 5 over on Sunday and wasn't in contention, nobody would have cared.
Correct.
But it's tough to look back on it now because I'll tell you what, it's a bigger payout. It's more points for the Ryder Cup. And granted, he's in the top 6 right now. So he's going to make the Ryder Cup team. He's played some of the most consistent golf this year. But it's a shame because it's really, really tough.
Well, it's a shame because it robbed us of playoff golf. So I'm selfish.
Yeah.
Let's put it there on
well,
that one.
It wasn't a shame for me because I did have multiple Keegan Bradley to win.
Yes, you did. Nice work by you. Man,
yeah, granted, it was live Sunday morning, but I had a boost. I boosted him up to plus 250, and then he birdied and was still sitting at plus 180 in the lead after like 5 holes, and I just sort of hammered back on him again.
It's funny when you bring this stuff up and you think about other sports. Like, would a NFL cornerback ever say, "Yeah, I held him"?
No.
Have you ever seen an NBA player go, "Yeah, I fouled him"?
Would you ever see a baseball player say, "Oh yeah, no, I actually didn't tip it. Actually, no, it didn't hit the bat. No, I didn't trap it in the outfield." Never.
Golfers
Hockey player, yeah, sorry, I actually was offsides. Can you call back the goal? Yeah, no shot. No shot.
All right. Nice segue there, Luke. We'll get you out of here in this one. Appreciate you hanging out for the first hour. Hockey talk on June 23rd. Ducks deal Trevor Zegras to the Flyers for Ryan Poehling and 2 picks. I have been upfront with everybody here. I have been so down on the Flyers over the past 2 years. It's tough to even tune in and watch them play. Mitch Goff caught a few games this year, but man, as far as hockey across the board, didn't really watch a lot of it this year. Did tune in a ton of the Stanley Cup Finals. That was great. A lot throughout the course of the playoffs as well. But all in all, it's been a tough 2 years for me and my Flyers loyalty. Let's just put it that way. So tell us, fill us in here. Big deal? 2 thumbs up? Where are we at?
Yeah, no, it is a big deal. He's 24. He's a really, really skilled hockey player. He was kind of just rotten with the Anaheim Ducks. I mean, it's hard to be really good on the Anaheim Ducks. It just is. He has dealt with some injuries a little bit. He's not the most physical hockey player, but having him be a 1 or 2 C for you next to Mitchkov is going to be sick. He is best friends with one of the Flyers defensemen, Jamie Drysdale.
Oh, we're getting Dry Island going again. Is that what
we're all Dry Island up? Speaking of Island, I'm going to get to this really quick after we get out of here. What I'm absolutely hooked on right now. But yeah, no, this is sick. This is a move that I feel like in years past when the Flyers were, flirting around it or, before their sort of rebuild or retool because Danny Briere doesn't want to call it a rebuild. This is a move that somebody across the league would make, and a lot of us would be like, damn, that would have been a really awesome trade for the Flyers. They traded Ryan. So they traded the 45th pick in this year's draft, I believe a 4th rounder next year, and then 1 player from the Flyers who really isn't anything special. It's a extremely buy low move because that is a steal of a package for a guy with that much skill. He's a really, really good hockey player. I think just getting him back on the ice with his friends in a city that actually, and I don't want to say cares about hockey because I know it's been a rough few years, but the city of Philadelphia cares about hockey. The Flyers fans care about hockey, and the city of Philadelphia cares about hockey when the team is good. They do. Yes. It's just been a while since they've been good.
Yes.
When they were in the playoffs in 2020 during COVID, a lot of people cared about the Flyers. They just ended up losing. But no, it's a good move. It's exciting. He's just a guy that I feel like has been kind of linked to them. He was linked last year at the trade deadline.
Oh, one of those guys. Okay.
Yeah, just one of those names that always feels like he's been linked to the Flyers. Now he's back with his best friend on the ice. And
you've said that 3 times now. I don't care that these guys are friends. I just want guys to get in there and compete and be skillful, like you said.
Baby.
Because when you look at what was taking place on the ice in front of us between those two teams, the Panthers, who are a bona fide wagon year after year after year, and of course what Edmonton has up there with McJesus and all the names that they got, plus the goalie that used to be here, like we are so far away from competing with that.
We're so far away.
And by the way, we're still 100-1. No shift of the odds at all with this recent trade.
We are incredibly far away. But I will say this to end this hockey talk. I saw a really big hockey guy on Twitter a few hours ago. I can't remember exactly who it was, but he basically said this is a Florida Panthers-esque move. They buy low on a really skilled player and they get him into their system and it works out.
We like that.
This kid is 24. He's good. And Brace, I don't know if I told you, but he's back on the ice with his best friend.
Yes, best friend.
Cool.
I'm glad that those boys are I'm glad that they're going to be able to hit the Jersey Shore together. Oh, Rucker, there you go.
Speaking of the draft coming up in 2 days.
Yeah. All right. What are you taking us out on here? What island? What do you want to watch?
Let me tell you. Let me tell you on a show I'm hooked on right now. Love Island. I got hooked. I got hooked this morning. So I'm working from home this entire week. I'm actually watching a dog this whole week. So I'm just basically sitting on the couch all week.
Nice.
Which is it's great life.
But
hooked on Love Island. It's a very good put it on in the background show. And just like, it's just think of Big Brother, but their goal is to fall in. Think of Big Brother and The Bachelor mixed together.
I'd rather not, but that's
and I'm not a Big Brother guy, but Sean, let me tell you, I thought the show was stupid at first, and I'm hooked, man. People are picking out who they want the couple to be, and then all of a sudden they're switching people right in front of the person they just picked. It's absolutely electric.
Yeah, everybody's tuned into Love Island on Hulu or USA or wherever it is. I don't know. Season 7, and they're always the good looking. Oh, look at this cast here! All these beautiful people. Gotta love it. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Oh,
no, I'm not. I can't tune into reality.
I'm gonna go watch more once we're done.
Luke, you're the best. We'll catch up later this week. Of course, big series coming up for the Phillies. Again, read Luke over on Crossing Broad. Be sure to follow him, Arcaini Luke, on socials. Fantastic follow as always. Luke, you're the best. Enjoy dog sitting, man.
I will. Thank you so much.
Cool. My man, there he is. All right, Sam Oshtry on the other side. We'll get back over to the NBA Finals to get his thoughts on the Kevin Durant trade. And, of course, the NBA draft. Oh, Sixers fans, are you ready to go? Are you all hot and bothered? Are you tuned up? It's your time. My guy Elton Brand's got to punch the clock. Everybody better be working hard this week over in Camden. It's time to go. Ace Bailey, the saga. What did I read today? Oh, classic Sixers take here. Classic. Let me give you this line for all you Sixers enthusiasts here. And I'm not picking on this kid because he put it out there. This is an ESPN mock that was fully updated. And this gentleman by the name of Harrison Grimm pops up on my timeline and he quote tweeted it. So it wasn't his take. But this is the quote from the article. While sources say VJ Edgecombe appeared nervous during his private workout in Philadelphia and did not shoot the ball particularly well in an unnatural one-on-one setting, he made a strong impression in interviews and meetings, something the front office values more highly. I give up. I give up. This team, I hope that's not true. Please, Lord, that's not true. Please have somebody just making things up. I'll tell you why that bothers me more with Sam Oshtry. We get his thoughts on the NBA draft. Of course, he's been all over it for us here in The Gambler, him and Jack Forrest on the clock. I know they'll have another episode coming up. Be sure to check out Sean Bernard as well. He's killing it over at DraftKings. He's going to be live with the folks on DraftKings for Wednesday night 1 of the NBA draft. 2 nights. Are you kidding me? All right. Other side, a lot to do here. Daily, take it back after this.
Are you like millions of Americans who avoided filing their taxes this year because you're afraid you'll owe the IRS thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars? Well, you don't need to be afraid anymore. Tax Relief Advocates has the solution. We can file your back tax years and may be able to reduce or even eliminate what you owe. With over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, we've helped over 100,000 Americans just like you permanently and painlessly resolve their IRS debt. A resolution specialist is waiting to speak to you now, who will let you know what tax debt reduction you may qualify for. Don't wait. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call our tax relief hotline now to see what you qualify for at 800-511-2503. 800-511-2503. Again, that's 800-511-2503. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
With great deals coming this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th, greatness is a deal away. So if you love baking, you can get a deal on a new mixer, transforming you into the Lord of the Loaves.
Hear ye! Make way for the badding of brioche, the sultan of sourdough, the lord of the loaves, Prime Member Dave!
Yeah, hi?
Shop great deals this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
Okay, I've got some good news and I've got some great news. The good news is that Prime Day is almost here. The great news, this year you'll have 4 days to find deals on all of your favorite things. Shop Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
Here's what's trending on the iHeart Sports Network, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook.
The Flyers' offseason retooling is underway, with Philly acquiring forward Trevor Zegras from Anaheim today for forward Ryan Poehling and 2 draft picks. Philly sports teams, they'll have to foot their own bill for new stadiums. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro announced yesterday the state's coffers are closed. And Oklahoma City, they'll honor the NBA champion Thunder tomorrow with a parade after the team beat Indiana for their first ever title. I'm Scott Davidson.
DraftKings is all about responsible gaming. It's more fun when it's for fun. So play responsibly. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 or older. Age and eligibility vary by jurisdiction.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Traffic's crawling Boulevard northbound Schuylkill to approaching Wissahickon with a crash in the left lane. The westbound Schuylkill Jan University to Vine and Boulevard to Belmont. Eastbound heavy getting on at 202. Slow through the Conshohocken Curve and Girard to South. The Vine Expressway busy both ways. Schuylkill to Broad, 95 northbound. And Jan Girard up to Bridge. Southbound stop and go Coppin to the Betsy Ross. Then heavy Ridley Park to the Blue Route. Blue Route northbound stacked up 95 to Route 1. Southbound Jan Broomall to Media Swarthmore. Lara Totella total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Today doesn't have to suck. Break through your day-to-day boredom by downloading Call of Duty Mobile for free and enjoy fun gameplay featuring fan-favorite Call of Duty maps, modes, and operators, plus tons of new mobile content anywhere, anytime. Available on both the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Download for free now. Rated M.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
For a lot of us, saving up a down payment can be the biggest barrier to buying a home. So Rocket Mortgage is lowering down payments to 1% for eligible home buyers with ONE+. Because everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to get a head start on your starter home.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
Most people in radio commercials talk really fast. But we made this one for RV owners. Progressive knows they like the slower pace of RV life, like this commercial. And they know Progressive will protect their RV at a fair price with discounts. Now here comes the fast part. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Number 1 on your car radio preset hand, the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
All right, welcome back. Daily Ticket with you here on a hot Monday. Now, if you're like me, and I don't want to put this out there because it's almost like knock on wood, but we've been flirting with disaster at the home. Our AC unit, heating and cooling unit, is original, and it's been around for a long time as far as my house is concerned. Knocking on wood heavy there. But here's the deal. I know if there's any issues now or in the future, I know exactly where I'll be going. Gerhardt's Appliances. And that's where you should go as well. Folks, if you need a new AC unit right here, right now, with this heat wave that we're currently in, and it doesn't seem like anything is going to be helping us out over the next few days as far as that's concerned. Maybe a sprinkle here and there over at the evening hours. Tell you what, Gerhardt's Appliances, I was just up at their new showroom 2 weeks ago now up in Phoenixville. Gorgeous. They have one in King of Prussia that's huge as well that just opened up on Henderson Road. Check them both out. And of course, Gerhardt'sAppliances.com is where you can find them online to see everything they have going on right now. We've got plenty of deals for 4th of July on the horizon. But again, keeping it right here, right now, knowing what's happening and everything, how things tend to break when we have to use them. Of course, it's never a good time for that to happen. But bottom line is Gerhardt'sAppliances.com is where you need to shop if you need a new heating or cooling unit in your life right now. Again, 4th of July sales coming up. Visit their showrooms for the best experience around. They've been in business in Philadelphia supporting us for the past 85 years. And they have the best prices, too. I found out how they get their prices. Every 15 minutes, they get sent numbers from all across the country from the big stores out there, and they are going to give you the best price. I found that out firsthand when we were up there in Phoenixville. Why not shop at Gerhardt's? What's the matter with you? Gerhardt'sAppliance.com. Speaking of hot right now, I see Sam Oshtry. I'm sure he was at the beach. Well, Sam, you're hot. You're good looking too. No, I kidding. You were at the beach, I would imagine. You're a big shore guy during the summertime.
I sure was at the beach. Beautiful. Finally, first time all summer I got a beach day in on Saturday.
Nice.
So first time because the weather been awful. I'm going to be the guy that complains about the weather real quick. It goes from freezing cold to raining for the last 6 weeks. And now it is hot as hell out there. This is like Vegas in July weather, 100 degrees. Can't even step outside. Yeah, I'm the guy who complains about the weather, but like Jesus, it's hot out, man.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's definitely warm. Let's put it that way. All right, let's talk about the NBA Finals. Let's talk about Kevin Durant. Let's talk about the NFL Draft. Couple quick items though, if you wouldn't mind. First of all, Rick Carlisle pregame. Love this.
I just saw a video that's probably going to go viral of some buses, open top buses, presumably for their parade that are already painted with them as champions. So that's all I'm thinking about right now.
Oh, that's all he was thinking about. That's all that was on Rick's mind. Well, there was a big game too as well.
Thunder fans feel this moment. The uncommon young team proves to be unstoppable. It's over at Paycom Center. Final in Game 7. The Thunder 103, the Pacers 91. A dream realized. The storybook season is complete. The final chapter reads the Oklahoma City Thunder are the 2025 NBA champions.
Yeah, and a big reason why was the man himself. A hell of a year. Western Conference Final MVP and NBA Finals MVP SGA.
A lot of hard work, a lot of hours in the gym. This isn't just a win for me. This is a win for my family. This is a win for my friends. This is a win for everybody that was in my corner growing up. This is a win for the fans, the best fans in the world. Love you guys.
Yeah, great team for my money, Sam Oshtry. I'm pretty sure you'd be in agreement with me on this one. Again, we're talking about a team that won 84 games all season long. They were 16-7 in playoffs, fourth team in NBA history to win 84-plus games. And SGA, just a hell of a year. Your big takeaway after a Game 7 last night was what?
A little bit of disappointing Game 7 because of the circumstances that happened in the first quarter, where Tyrese Halliburton tears his Achilles. Just brutal. Like I was texting you guys before the game, how excited I was for this.
You were amped.
I was amped. I mean, the introductions, the starting lineups, the national anthem, all of it. Like it really felt like a Super Bowl. Finally, the NBA put on an event, a true event for a Game 7, first since 2016. And then, of course, Tyrese Halliburton has this great start, drills 3 threes, and pops his Achilles, and everyone knew it the second it happened. He knew it the second it happened. So a disappointing end to an improbable and inspiring Pacers run. But the team that won the championship was the team that deserved to win the championship, and that was the Oklahoma City Thunder, who had been the best team all season, 68 wins, second best net rating in NBA history, only to the 95-96 Chicago Bulls, a historically great defense, MVP of the league, scoring title, and now Finals MVP. First time in 25 years to do that. First time even just to win the Finals MVP and regular season MVP since LeBron in 2013. So I thought it was an awesome NBA season, and the right team won because they were the best team in the league all season. And this team isn't slowing down. We're going to see this Thunder team around for a long time in these big stages because they haven't even hit their peak as a core yet.
Yeah, and that's why they're plus 240 title favorites for next year. No surprise there. And again, a lot of people did have OKC getting the job done preseason this year. A lot of people did have them in the NBA Finals. I knew that they would be competing. I did not put my hard-earned money on OKC, but I am a believer now. That's for damn sure. And again, for the people that want to talk about comparing this team versus other teams and other champions, and now we've had 7 straight different champions, and I think that's pretty cool. I don't mind it. I'm all for it. It is fun when you do have those teams that you generate hatred for or somewhat dislike, not hatred. Like I disliked LeBron when he was with the Heat. I wanted to see somebody beat Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. Like, if you're not going to give me that, I want to be entertained. And I was watching Oklahoma City throughout the course of this year and the NBA Finals. And one other note on that, as far as the greatness with this team, besides the stats that you just threw out there, which should tell you everything you need to know. When you compare this team to the other teams, I'm telling you, yeah, we're going to see this team win another championship. And if you win multiple championships, aren't you a step ahead of these other teams that were only able to get one done, if we're going to compare and contrast versus champions of previous years? And that's fair to do. That's what we do. But look at the future for this Oklahoma City team. They are dominant in every single category. They have a ton of capital as far as the draft is concerned, friendly team contracts, great players. You could sit there and say that they're missing their dominant second scorer. I thought Williams was pretty damn good. He had a bad game that he followed up his 40-point performance, but pretty darn good player there. I just think the future is so bright for this OKC team. So the people that are saying that, they're not a great team, well, you're going to be saying something different next year when they probably win another championship.
Everyone's saying how improbable this Pacers run was, and it was based on their underdog profile and all that. You don't see teams this young win the NBA title like the Thunder just did. You just don't. It doesn't happen. That inexperience, that youth, usually it prevents you from winning an NBA title and making even a super deep playoff run. Jalen Williams is in his 3rd season in the NBA. He's the second best player, second leading scorer on that Thunder team. Chet Holmgren is in his 2nd season in the NBA, who was a defensive menace last night and really all season and throughout the postseason. You don't see a team's 2nd and 3rd best player in their 2nd and 3rd years in the NBA. It just doesn't happen. Shea is even young. He's about to turn 27 in a few weeks coming up. These guys are so young and have such youthfulness and inexperience, but that's not how they carry themselves. They still carry themselves with such a maturity, and that's what's so impressive. Like, this is the youngest champion from an NBA team in over 40 years. It's such an unprecedented journey, and they haven't even hit their peak yet as a core. You think about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's not even 27 yet. Jalen Williams has improved so much in just his 3 years in the league, but he has so much more to go. He could be a legitimate star on his own team one day. Chet Holmgren, as an offensive player, as a shooting, really struggled in the postseason. Taking guys off the dribble, he has so much room to grow. And that's the core of this team. Then you factor in all of their draft picks. Yes, Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams are due for an extension this summer. They deserve an extension. They earned every dime that's coming to them, so they're going to get their extensions. But every guy on this team, pretty much every player that impacted the impacted winning is going to be on the roster next season because they're still under contract. So they're about to go in the next couple of years. Once those extensions hit in, they're about to go into the tax and into those aprons. The thing is, though, they can move some of those pieces where they don't have to sacrifice depth because they also have draft picks. So yeah, the Alex Crusoes and Lou Dortz and Casey Wallace's and Aaron Wiggins of the world, some of those guys might not be there, but they have such great draft capital where they can bring good guys in on decent contracts that aren't going to be expensive at all, so they won't have to be in the second apron. It won't be a team that necessarily sacrifices all their depth. And the thing is, they've drafted so well. Like Jalen Williams was the 12th pick in the draft. What an absolute steal. Chet Holmgren was obviously the second pick in the draft, but still, you think about Aaron Wiggins was a second rounder, 55th pick in the draft. They've drafted so well, and they're such a top-notch organization and identifying talent at building a culture, and this culture isn't going anywhere. So yeah, I think this is the first champion that we've seen in a long, long time that I can confidently say will have multiple championships by the end of the decade.
What would have happened if Tyrese Halliburton doesn't get hurt?
Yeah, Sean asked me that question. Bernard asked me that question this morning. I don't know. like, what am I supposed to sit here and say that the Pacers would have won the game? Like, it's such.
They were leading at half. They were up by one.
They were. I mean, look. Honestly, the injury affected the Thunder. It felt like more than the Pacers. And it's the old Doc Rivers theory, something I tweeted, where Doc Rivers has always said that he'd rather play a team at full strength than them missing their best player, because the mentality and the psyche.
That is some Doc stuff right there.
It is a Doc thing. But I actually think it's such a Doc quote. But there is some truth to that theory. Like the psyche and mentality of a team completely shifts. And yeah, it's Game 7 of the NBA Finals, so maybe it's not as legitimate in that setting. But still, the mentality shifts and the psyche shifts. And I think you saw that with the Thunder, where they were like, oh, maybe we have this game in the bag. Like just everything. It was weird playing after that moment and that injury happened. And the Pacers were a little more amped and rejuvenated playing for Tyrese Halliburton. So I don't know exactly how the game would have gone. It definitely would have been more competitive, I can tell you that, just based on how this series went. It wouldn't have been a blowout, which essentially it became late in that third quarter. So I think it would have been a competitive game. I'm not going to sit here and say the Pacers would have won. I don't know. Tyrese Halliburton got off to a great start, hit 3 threes. Thunder would have changed up some defensive coverages, applied more pressure. He would not have been raining in threes all night. So I think the Thunder still would have won because I predicted them to win, but it would have been a much more competitive game. And we were robbed of it. And you just got to feel for Tyrese Halliburton, because it's not just this year. It's next year. The Pacers are done.
Yeah, that's the tough pill to swallow there. That's the worst part about all these injuries right now, is that these guys are going to miss a lot of time next year. And that's the part that really stinks. Talking to Sam Oshtry, read him over at The Score. Of course, hear him with me every Thursday. And you're going to hear him coming up at 5 o'clock with Sean Bernard. They were waxing poetic about all things NBA, recapping Finals Game 7. Of course, the big Durant trade, which we're going to get into right now, in a big week for the 76ers and everybody in the NBA as far as the NBA draft is concerned. I did see ratings just came out. Game 7.
Not bad.
You
it was 16 million?
16 million, which when you compare it to the other Game 7s, it is a significant
Yeah, well,
drop.
it's never going to live up to the Curry LeBron, but it was actually the highest rated finals game in 5 years, I believe.
Good. And that's something that I give a thumbs up on, because it's just so frustrating, because I first 5 games of the NBA Finals, nobody watched. Like, it was like 9 million. It was very low, one of the lowest of all time since they've been rating. And we don't really care about that. You remember, I opened up Game 1 saying, should we care about the casual? Right? I was like, why do we care about the casual's opinion? If they don't want to watch, so be it. Like, you don't want to watch these two teams who are clearly the best teams right now, so be it. But there is, after it's all said and done, something that you need to get into from the commissioner's standpoint. And of course, it's a fun conversation from time to time to get into. So I just...
We always say we never get into it. I was listening to you earlier, too, with Luke. With Luke, too. It's like we always say we're never getting into it, and then we get into it, because I love it. Like, I don't think it matters as that much, but like, I think it's interesting how much attention a league and a sport we really care about is getting.
But it only comes down to, does it only come down to like a team from, a bigger market? Like, is that what the only issue was here? Is that people did not want to tune in for an Oklahoma City team versus Indiana? Like if you took these same players and put them on Boston and LA, if you took these same players and put them on Chicago and Miami, would ratings have been doubled?
To me, it's more about the marketability of the superstars and the players in the game. And part of that is market. Like if you're in a bigger market like LA or something, you're going to be marketed better as a superstar than if you're in Indiana or Oklahoma City. So part of it is the marketability of those guys. And as good as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is as a player, he's unquestionably a top 3 player in the NBA, a superstar in this league on the basketball court. You could argue he's not really a superstar in terms of his persona, personality away from the court. And when you look at some of the superstars, the great ones that have blessed the game, like the Kobes, the LeBrons, the MJs, those guys evoked emotion out of a lot of different people throughout NBA history, fans who loved them and fans who hated him. And with Shai, it's like, number one, a lot of people don't know him. A lot of people probably heard him speak and heard his voice for the first time this playoff run because the Thunder really just recently came onto the scene. They just made their first playoff appearance last year. So only actual basketball fans knew him and casuals didn't. So he's not as marketable, even though he's such a great player and a superstar basketball player. But you don't love or hate Shai. Like there's nothing to hate about him. He's just a good dude, handles his business, puts his head down, works hard. The superstars are the guys like Anthony Edwards, who say a lot of crazy stuff, and that picks up traction, and some of the off-court stuff that makes headlines on social media and that. So those guys are more marketable for better or worse because you have people love them or have people hate them, but you're going to get some emotion out of those type of people. But I had casuals tuned in yesterday who were texting me. You hadn't texted me all about the NBA all season. That I saw that they were telling me they were tuned in, and I was like, okay, I think kind of the underdog story with the Pacers caught some people's attention, and America loves an underdog, and then the Pacers were that. So I think that was part of it, and Tyrese Halliburton's clutch performance. But you have a Game 7 on Sunday night. What else is on TV? You're gonna have, if you're a sports fan, forget if you love the NBA, hate basketball, whatever. If you're a sports fan, you're watching a Game 7 on a Sunday night.
Yeah, except for Sheffield Shuffler, who told me that on Friday. He's like, no, I'm not going to watch. It's like, well,
because it was Mets Phils. Because it was Mets Phils. That's the only exception.
Yeah, that's the only exception. But he was just like, I like baseball. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm with you. And the NBA Finals, like starting in there, I'm tuning in no matter what. And
but like I hate hockey. I hate hockey. But I think was it a Game 7 last year?
God, I mean, I felt that. Jeez, what do you have against hockey? What did hockey do to you?
I just, it's just not an entertaining sport to watch. You can't even follow the puck when you watch it. It's just brutal to watch. But I think there was a Game 7 last year, recently, some playoff game.
Yes, it was last year.
Correct. In the Stanley Cup, right?
Yes.
And I was tuned in for that. Like I tuned in. I was like, okay, this is a Game 7 in a sporting event. I'm going to tune in.
There you go.
I love sports, even though hockey's my least favorite sport.
We're going to have hockey talk with Sam Oshtry moving forward. That's going to be a segment.
I'll give great insight.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's keep it moving. And, one of the things that kind of hit me a little bit was, of course, the big trade for Kevin Durant, which we knew was going to come down the pipeline, and it did yesterday. I know Roy came in and Roy had his take. People definitely were like, wait a minute, that shouldn't be happening on the day of Game 7. I don't have a big issue with it. I think those things, you do them on purpose. He was at Fanatics Fest. I think that there was pretty much a reason there. But at the end of the day, teams are going to do what they want to do. But here we are now. Durant to Houston, odds improved from 12-1 up into what? He's 8-1, 7-1, whatever it is as far as Houston is concerned right now. I'll pull up DraftKings. And they're not done, Sam. There are people out there floating the possibility that they could potentially be in play for Giannis as well. Now we're talking. Bring me Giannis, Durant, and that young Houston Rockets team. Now, they're going to have to give a lot to get up Giannis, but, man, that would be really entertaining. A lot of people be tuning in for those games. Durant, though, 15-time All-Star, still playing at a high level, to the point that I saw that this morning on Get Up, and this was surprising. Still in his prime. Kevin Durant, 3 straight seasons with 25 points per game, 50% field goal percentage, 40% 3-point field goal percentage as well. It's the longest streak in NBA history. So for the people out there going, it's Kevin Durant, no big deal. Yeah, I know he's on to another team here again, but Kevin Durant's still a baller. Houston, as far as that trade is concerned, did they win the trade? And your outlook right now for Durant and the Rockets?
Yeah, they fleeced them. And look, the Suns had no leverage in these trade talks because Kevin Durant wanted to move on from them, and they should have wanted to move on from Kevin Durant too, because that partnership just was ended up being a disaster. I mean, you go back and look at that Kevin Durant trade. It was, they got Kevin Durant and they gave up Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and 4 first-round picks, and they got 3 playoff runs out of Kevin Durant and 1 postseason series win. So just a disastrous experiment with Kevin Durant, and the Bradley Beal situation. Couple that in, it was an awful run and an awful experiment with Kevin Durant in Phoenix. So it was bound for both sides to just depart. So the Suns really had no leverage because teams knew that it was like, okay, Kevin Durant wants to leave. You want to get rid of him because it's best for your team. So they had no leverage. So the Rockets were able to take advantage of the Suns having 0 leverage, and they offered Dillon Brooks, a good player, contributed to them the last few years, a really good like 3-and-D archetype guy. The Rockets were one of the best defenses, and a lot of that reason was because of Dillon Brooks. But he's not a guy that you wanted to hold on to. You get rid of Jalen Green, one of the most inefficient, inconsistent, good scorers in the NBA, and was awful in the playoffs. Averaged 13 points per game on 37% shooting against the Warriors. Just really bad in the playoffs, and not a guy that I think the Rockets wanted to keep around long term. And it's not about you give up the 10th pick too. But that guy wouldn't have even played on this roster because this team is so deep, this Rockets team. Even the number 3 pick, Reed Shepherd, last year, barely got any minutes for the Rockets. And it's really about who the Rockets kept. They kept Jabari Smith. They kept Amen Thompson, kept Tari Eason, Reed Shepherd, Cam Whitmore, of course, Alperen Sengun, all those guys. So now they kept their core intact, or most of the guys they wanted to keep around. And they added one of the most efficient scorers over the last 30 years the NBA has seen. And even he's become more efficient as a scorer in his 30s post his Achilles tear, which is interesting and something to note for Tyrese Halliburton and Jason Tatum and some of these guys coming off Achilles injuries. But that's what's so impressive. The Rockets got the guy they wanted to help them as a go-to scorer, a guy who was a clutch scorer. And the Rockets really struggled offensively in the clutch late in games because they didn't have a go-to option. And now they do, and they didn't have to give up much. So I think this was an absolutely great trade for the Rockets. And the last point is, I'm not sure Giannis is going to become available this summer, but if he eventually does, the Rockets have enough to offer a great package for Giannis, probably still better than any team in the league. So the Rockets executed this perfectly.
Yeah. Do you know, I never asked a question, you don't know the answer. General manager in Houston?
Yeah, Raphael Stone.
Wow.
He's done an awesome job. You know who he replaced? He's done a much better job than that guy.
Morey. Yeah, you replaced Morey? Yep. Was he Morey's guy?
I don't believe so. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like he came from somewhere else.
Interesting how that works. Right now, you are seeing the Rockets. They moved to plus 750 on DraftKings, only trailing the Thunder, Cavs, and Knicks. How about that, sports fans? Can I interest you in Kevin Durant MVP next year, 80-1?
MVP? I don't know if Katie's ever going to win MVP again, just because people have kind of sickened on him based on how he hasn't impacted winning. And it's not all his fault what happened with the Suns. They just put a really poor roster together. It was bad roster construction. But people kind of blame him for not impacting winning enough. So I don't think voters will ever reward him again with an MVP.
Durant has now been traded 3 times. Warriors, Nets, Suns, Rockets. You ready for the collective return?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Mikal Bridges, Dillon Brooks, Jay Crowder, Trevon Graham. It doesn't ring a bell to me. Jalen Green, Cam Johnson, Shabazz Napier, D'Angelo Russell, 5 first-round picks, 5 second-round picks, and 1 pick swap. That's according to Yahoo Sports. Nice work there.
Yeah, that's the guy has been on 3 teams in 2.5 seasons. Like that, the guy just jumps around and he seems seemingly never happy. But as we know, NBA players are usually happy in Houston. So if he can't be happy in Houston, then that guy just needs to start seeing a better therapist, because you should be happy in Houston.
He had a good hit with Kay Adams live from Fanatics Fest, and
Kay Adams always does good hits with him.
Yeah, she's good. Kay Adams is proven her worth every single day. That's for sure. Again, very.
He almost recruited Micah Parsons to the Commanders on that thing.
Didn't see that. Yeah, Parsons, he can't help himself. He's an idiot on a microphone. He just can't help himself. All right, NBA draft. I'll get you out of here on this one again. You're coming up next hour with Sean Menard. Fantastic list of picks and roll coming your way. NBA draft. What are we hearing? What's real? What's not? What is going on with Ace Bailey? Have we got any news there? Do you think that the 76ers could potentially still pick him at 3?
I don't think so. I think the Ace Bailey ship has sailed. I honestly don't think the Sixers were ever that interested in Ace Bailey. They did a lot of scouting on him throughout the year, pretty close by Rutgers. Morey went to some games. I don't think they were ever that high on Ace Bailey. Because of the raw talent, I think it was a consideration. They had to when you get the number 3 pick. But I think it was always more on the VJ Edgecombe track, and I still think that'll be the guy. I think there could be some late Trey Johnson stuff, but that could be smokescreeny too. I think VJ Edgecombe is going to be the guy, and it's not Ace Bailey. And at this point, it's like, where does Ace Bailey go? We might be looking at a free fall from him because his campus handled this really poorly. He canceled his visit and his workout with the Sixers last week, but he hasn't worked out with any team in the entire NBA. So he's trying to like pinpoint his destination, but the reality is there are obvious and glaring flaws in his game, why teams are skeptical to take a chance on him. So I don't understand why his camp thinks that he's good enough where they can just dictate his destination. So when you look at how the draft shakes up, if the Sixers don't take him at 3, then you're going to the Hornets at 4, who don't have a need for Ace Bailey with Miles Bridges and Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball. They just don't need Ace Bailey, a guy who needs the ball, an on-ball guy. They just don't need an Ace Bailey in that role. Then you go to the Utah, and if they want nothing to do with Utah, meaning Bailey and his camp, then why would Utah draft this guy? Maybe they take a chance on him because of the star potential, but I don't think that it would be wise for Utah to take a chance on a guy who doesn't want to be there. And Bailey's camp may be trying to nix that completely. And then you go all the way to Washington at 6. And I think there's a good chance Bailey falls to Washington at 6. And I think at that point, the Wizards are looking for a star. And if Bailey falls for you, there are serious concerns. But based on the raw talent, I think you just take a swing on a guy like Bailey if you're the Wizards, because what do you have to lose if you're the Washington Wizards? You know, you're not. You don't have a star. You're trying to rebuild, and you wanted a top pick, and obviously you got 6, which was disappointing. But if Bailey's there, I think you take him. So I think we could be looking at a situation when Bailey completely falls out of the top 5, partly on him, but partly because the market is just soured on him.
Yeah, it's crazy what's going on right now, and I'm still wondering what the hell is the overall game plan. I know that people are saying, hey, he's got somebody, bad in his ear, and that could be potentially correct. But what I would say is that, like, man, these guys, you look at across seas, you look at soccer players, man, in Europe, they come up and they're making unbelievable decisions at the age of 17, 18 years old. Like, you can miss me with that excuse. Things have changed so much here in America, especially the way that these college kids are getting paid. And the rumor is Ace Bailey was making $10+ million last year at Rutgers, with everything, NIL, sponsorships, so on and so forth. I heard Ruben had a stake in that. And I know it wasn't reported, but we did have some people that were extremely connected. So this dude's making a ton of money, and it just doesn't seem like the reason is making sense at this point in time. Also, I do want to put this out there. Whether you think a destination is a bad fit currently, who the hell plays their whole NBA career for one team? Who does that? Nobody. Like you get drafted, you play your team, you play out. Like, if things work out, great. If they don't, you move on if you're a good player. Like, what is going on with that whole thought process? I know people are hot on the trail and saying that he wants to play for the Lakers. He wants to go to LA. Like, is that really what we're doing here?
I don't think it's that. But the only thing, I don't even think the Lakers have a first round pick. So
correct.
The only thing I would say to that is you want to set yourself up for a great second contract when you're a rookie. So yeah, he probably won't be at the same destination by his second contract, but you want to set yourself up for a great second contract, and that means you have to be in a good landing spot to prove yourself in your first contract. But look, if you're a great player, you will fit in wherever. It doesn't matter. If you're that good, you can go to Philadelphia on a championship contending team and fit in. If you're that good, you can go excel with the Jazz or the Wizards or whoever it is. So if you're really that talented and have that much confidence in yourself as a player and as a prospect, you can. This isn't like the NFL where a quarterback could go to a really bad situation. If you're that great of a player, you should be able to have confidence in yourself that you can excel in any situation. And Bailey's camp is saying that they want to be the guy. He wants to be the guy somewhere because they see him as a superstar, but he also doesn't want to go all the way out to Utah. He wants to be geographically close to the Northeast. It's like what are we doing here? This is not how the NBA works, and you're not good enough. If this was Cooper Flagg and Cooper Flagg's camp and his parents would never instruct him to do that, but if this was Cooper Flagg, maybe I would understand it because that type of for that type of prospect, you can understand him dictating his own terms. Ace Bailey is not that good. The raw talent is there. There are serious question marks in his game that I would be really concerned about. So I don't think that this is justifiable. His actions, his camp's actions, and we'll see how far he falls on Wednesday night. Yeah, Wednesday night.
Wednesday
But
night,
it's gonna be pretty
baby.
full. It's going to be pretty far.
All right.
Okay, the
Love this
NBA
sound.
needs to move the draft back. Move the season up. Move the draft back. The draft should not be 2-3 days after a Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Let's make it a marquee spectacle and event.
I'll tell you what.
There's not enough time to discuss one from the other.
The Gambler Gang is, if we feature a bunch of future commissioners, I'll tell you that right now. We got Luke Arcaini's already fixing everything. We got Sam Oshtry. He's going to fix the NBA. Bernard's, he's got his takes as well. Mark Henry Jr., he's got his takes. Everybody's fixing these leagues. We need to have a commissioner-style show. I got to think about that and put that together. All right, while I have you, get you out of here on this one, Sam, your thoughts on the latest deal as far as VJ Edgecombe is concerned. I just put this out here. This is from an ESPN article. I know that this wasn't put out by Harrison Grimm, but I did see him quote tweet it, and it made me go like, what's going on right now? Quote, while sources say Edgecombe appeared nervous during his private workout in Philadelphia and did not shoot the ball particularly well in an unnatural one-on-one setting, he made a strong impression in interviews and meetings, something the front office values more highly. Smoke, there's fire is just, throwing the kid a bone.
This is 2 days before the draft. You hear reports like these. I mean, come on. I mean, we know the Hornets are really into VJ Edgecombe, and they would like him. And if he somehow slips to them at 4, he will be the guy for the Charlotte Hornets. So maybe it's coming from their people, even though I don't know. It's like it's ESPN and it's Jeremy Wu who put that report out, and he has good intel usually. So it's kind of questionable. Nervous. The guy played college basketball at the highest level. Like, I don't think he was nervous going into an NBA workout. I could believe that he didn't shoot the ball well because there are question marks about his shot, and that's something he's going to have to develop as he goes in. But shooting the ball poorly and being nervous aren't necessarily the same thing. So I think VJ Edgecomb's the guy. His athleticism, he's the best athlete in this draft. His defense, he can play as a spot-up roles, which the Sixers need him. Attacking closeouts. He can shoot a little bit. He has to develop that shot to be more consistent and more efficient from out there. But I think VJ Edgecomb's the guy. That report does not concern me.
All right, so 1's Flag, 2's Harper, 3 is Edgecombe. Lock it in?
Yeah, I think 4 is Knipple right now. I would take, if I'm the Hornets, I think they might take a flyer on Knipple.
I mean, you should just start tweeting these picks out before they go. Like,
I'm working on some picks right now and some props. They'll be up tomorrow morning.
Who's going to the Jazz at 5?
I think if Knipple falls there, I think they would take Knipple. If not, I could see them taking a Trey Johnson. Yeah, probably Trey Johnson, maybe Jeremiah Fears, but more likely Trey Johnson.
All right. Sam Oshtry, great stuff as always. Stirring it up on the timeline. You got to love it. Read him over at The Score. Does a bang-up job. Be sure to follow him at SOSHTRY. And oh, by the way, coming up on the other side, Picks and Roll with Sean Bernard. Sam, greatly appreciate it. Awesome job this year as far as NBA playoffs, NBA regular season, NBA finals. We're not done yet. We got NBA draft and free agency, which I don't know if we're going to be big-time players in that, but I know moves will be made as far as the Sixers are concerned. But great job across the board. Fantastic having you on this show, and look forward to more, man. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. First season with the Gambler Gang, first season with you, and it was awesome. It was a lot of fun, but the season really starts in the off season for a lot of people, so we're going to keep breaking it down. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
My man, there he is, Sam Oshtry on the Gambler Stream. Coming your way as well at 5 o'clock, so don't touch that dial. I got some other odds and ends I got to get to before we get out of here. Of course, Major League Baseball doesn't stop just because the Phillies aren't in action. I got 2 plays. I'll give it to you on the other side. Your boy was hot this weekend. How about that? Nick Castellanos on Friday. Let me tell you about that story Friday night. I'll give you that breakdown from what took place to cash that ticket. It was hysterical, and a true Chambray story. I'll give you that on the other side. More Daily Ticket. Back into this.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas September 19th and 20th. Streaming live only on Hulu. Starring John Fogerty, Bryan Adams, Sammy Hagar, Mariah Carey, Tim McGraw, Jelly Roll, Ed Sheeran, and more. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage. Superstar performances, never before seen collaborations, and once-in-a-lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Get your iHeartRadio Music Festival tickets now at AXS.com. Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Crash on the Boulevard has it crawling northbound Schuylkill to approaching Wissahickon. The left lane is blocked. And westbound Schuylkill, Jan University to Vine. West of Montgomery Drive to Belmont. Eastbound heavy at 202. Conshohocken to Belmont. Montgomery Drive to South. Then Jim past Young to Broad, where the off-ramp's blocked with a crash. The Vine Expressway eastbound heavy Schuylkill to Broad. 95 northbound Jan Gerard up the bridge. Southbound stop and go Cotman to the Betsy Ross. And so Ridley Park to the Blue Route. All right, to tell total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Shop Mattress Firm's July 4th sale and reclaim your restless nights. Choose from a curated premium selection of mattresses to find just the upgrade you're looking for. Get matched, sleep at night.
Do you own or manage a business here in Philadelphia? Are you unsure where to start when it comes to advertising? Well, here's a surprise. Fox Sports The Gambler, your local iHeart station, is the one place you can get it all. Hey, it's Sean Brace, and we can help with everything from radio and podcast ads to social media and digital. And we can even get local voices like mine spreading the word about your business. So if you're looking for someone to take care of it all, do yourself a favor right now. Call 844-844-iHeart or visit iHeartAdvertising.com today.
Stuck in the same day-to-day routine? Wake up, go to work, eat, sleep, repeat. Break through the boredom this summer and download Call of Duty Mobile for free. Enjoy fan-favorite maps, modes, and operators from classic Call of Duty titles, plus new mobile-exclusive content. Today doesn't have to suck. Cure your boredom for free with Call of Duty almost anywhere, anytime. Call of Duty Mobile is available on both the Apple App Store and Google Play Store for free today. Rated M for mature.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I have heart failure, and being out of breath all the time was just too much. I also have other symptoms like carpal tunnel syndrome and lower back pain, and I thought something's really off. That's why I talked to my cardiologist about ATTR-CM, or transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis.
ATTR-CM is a serious heart condition often accompanied by other non-heart-related symptoms. It's a condition that gets worse over time, so starting treatment early is important. Talk to your cardiologist today to see if you have ATTR-CM. Vindamax, tafamidis, is a prescription pill taken once a day to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization for heart problems. Tell your doctor about all your medications, medical conditions, and if you have liver problems or breastfeeding, pregnant, or plan to be. There are no known side effects with Vindamax. For prescribing information, call 1-877-278-9632. Learn more at Vindamax.com.
Ask your doctor about ATTR-CM.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Give me those sauces, grab the chicken strips, let's dunk them in there. There's nothing like it. Hey, I'm Joey. And I'm Josh. And we're team members at our local Chick-fil-A. And a little thing you'll love about the Chick-fil-A chicken strips is dipping them in our sauces. My sauce is the barbecue sauce. If you wanted to add sweet, tangy flavors, there's nothing like it. I love the garden herb ranch sauce, but if you want a little bit more kick in the spicy side, you can mix it with buffalo sauce. Dipping them in our sauces, it is perfection.
It's the summer of Chick-fil-A chicken strips and sauces. Order now on the Chick-fil-A app. Team members paid for their testimonials.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com. Coming down the home stretch, Daily Ticket with you here on a hot Monday in the Delaware Valley. Sean Brace with you. And they bumped my daughter's soccer practice indoors. Thumbs up. We like that. Thank you. Nice work, Coach. All right. A couple quick ones before we get out of here. First of all, shout out to the fine folks who invited me and Sean Bernard yesterday to take a trip up the turnpike to Pocono for the Pocono 400. The Visit PA, the folks over at visitpa.com are behind Pocono 400. Of course, we know what's taking place next year in this great state of ours, but I do want to shine the light on what has taken place over the past few weeks as well in Pennsylvania as far as sports are concerned. The Truist Championship at the Cricket Club here in Philly, to Oakmont out there in Pittsburgh for the U.S. Open, to Pocono, which just took place, which was awesome on TV. Amazon did a great job there. Oh, by the way, Little League World Series coming up. There are so many good things happening in this state from a national perspective for sports. We know next year, 2026, we are going to dominate. Man, all eyes will be on us as a whole All-Star game, and the list goes on. World Cup. There's so many things that are taking place next year for the anniversary. But bottom line is this: visitpa.com. They're leading the charge. The Great American Getaway, and it starts here in Pennsylvania. Check out what they have going on at visitpa.com. And yesterday, myself and Sean Bernard went up. Governor Shapiro spoke. Some folks from Visit PA were there as well, handing out some great. Look, I got this hat, man. This hat. That's a true NASCAR hat right there. Big. Got the bill over here, high dome, and it's got the Visit PA on the side. You can't see it, but a really, really sharp hat. But they had us up there pre-race, and we're breaking it down with everything that's going on, and just a lot of excitement, a lot of jubilation, man. A lot of people that are fired up to get to work, to do right for us here in this state, to represent us well. Because as I said, a lot of eyes are going to be on us, not just locally, not just in the state, not nationally. We're talking about global eyes will be on us next year. So 2026 will be here before you know it. We know that that's the case. VisitPA.com. I want to give those guys and girls a big plug for rolling out the red carpet yesterday up at Pocono 400. And, of course, it's everything that's coming their way and getting involved with over the next few months into next year. VisitPA.com. Also, want to get over to the timeline as a gentleman checking in. I don't know. Well, then take it up with the city, bud. This guy tweets, I don't know if he was watching, whatever. We appreciate you watching. Appreciate everybody listening. We know that. He says, I'm going to keep it 100. I love this city, but we've been way too bipolar on the Phillies and Ace Bailey. All right. Maybe I took that as at me. I apologize, my friend. Sorry about that. Sixers every day. Yeah, I don't, again, where are you getting it from? Your information? Is it the timeline? Is it friends? Like, do you not have people that you value and you trust their opinion that you know won't steer you wrong to do something for clicks and attention? Because the other radio stations are going to do that. That's not what we do. We don't generate calls. We're not about, see, that's the difference. You want to talk about what's real and what's not. Take calls out of the equation. When that's the case, then most of the time you're going to get something that's authentic. When you drive calls, that's your goal. As a sports talk radio host, I worked over there. That's what they do. You get those calls on the horn in the first 5 minutes, and it's smooth sailing. It's about doing an hour. Somebody once told me it's about peeling an onion back, layer by layer. That's all they do. So come up with a hot button topic, a hot question to drive calls, get people all worked up. It's not rocket science, but that's not what we do here. We talk about everything. I hit the PGA Tour. I told you NASCAR. We talked about College World Series. Of course, Kevin Durant, NBA Finals, the Phillies. We're all over it for you. NBA Draft. We hit on everything in 2 hours. That's what we do here on The Gambler. We're not into that hot take stuff and driving calls. So as far as bipolar, I don't know what the opposite of bipolar would be, but we're about as even keel as it gets. And we still bring it as far as entertainment is concerned, as far as topics are concerned. Great host on this station. We don't need to drive calls. We're about as even keel as it gets on The Gambler. And that's a good thing. That's the way I want it. It's what I like about us as a team here. All right, keeping it moving. One last plug before we get out of here. It's hot. Did I tell you it's hot? Get over to Rita's. The Jaws anniversary went off on the 20th, which was what? The 20th. Today's the 23rd. So what was that, Friday? Yeah, Jaws 50th anniversary on Friday. And we talked a little bit on Friday's show. I still didn't watch Jaws this weekend. I meant to watch it. I wanted to watch it. We're talking about 50 years ago, 1975. One of the great horror movies of all time. That big shark. Anyways, I'm bringing up Jaws so I can play the music, number one. But the Sharkleberry Fin from the folks over at Rita's. I had one 2 weekends ago. Had a frozen lemonade on Saturday from Rita's. Make sure you sign up on their app. Download the app now so you can earn your way to delicious sweet treats like the Sharkleberry Fin. Get one this summer. Get one today. Perfect day for Rita's. I might do that on the way to soccer practice. How about that? Or after. A sweet treat after practice. Everybody, appreciate you tuning in. Tomorrow back at it. Brand new daily ticket. Kyle Fisher, I believe, is going to be on tomorrow's show. Mixing and matching. We got to get Colby back on. We got some other odds and ends we'll be hitting all throughout the course of the week. But front and center, NBA draft coverage right here on The Gambler. And two guys that know a thing or two about a thing or two when it comes to the draft and Sixers and NBA as a whole. They're coming up next. Sam Oshtry, Sean Bernard. Don't touch that dial. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Good luck on those plays.
The riveting podcast, What Happened to Talina Czar, unravels the chilling mystery surrounding a woman's disappearance during the COVID-19 lockdown, the internet sleuths who wouldn't let it go, and the dark subcultures and betrayal